Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are about to start with more modern technologies used in like almost every company. We're going to start the React series now. I'm super excited to finally get this out to you guys. But before we begin, I just have a little shameless plug. For those of you who want to switch into the tech industry as software developers without having to go to school or go to a boot camp, or if you're just someone who wants to learn how to code so you can build a business, I do have a mentorship program available to anyone who might feel like they want to do those things. And I'll go ahead and put the link to apply in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start this React series. Alright, so in this video we have a BMI calculator created using React. So you see here we have 4 entry fields here. We have our weight, the units of measurement in pounds or kilograms, the height, and then units of measurement also with inches or meters. So let's do a little test run. So let's go ahead and do 200 pounds. Height of 72 inches, which is 6 feet. And let's calculate the BMI. So you see here we have the BMI, and it tells us which category this person were to fall under. So as you can see here, they are overweight. And if I change this to meters instead of inches, we'll recalculate. And we have BMI of 1. And let me just show you guys like the consistency here. So let's do a quick Google search. Pounds to kilograms. So that would be 90.72. I'm just going to round to 2 decimal places. Kilograms, and inches to meters. Be 1.83 approximately. And it should give us, I think, 26 or 27, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And let me just double check so you guys can see it one more time. And we still get the same result. So whether you put your weight in kilograms or pounds, or if you do inches or meters, you will get the same result. So if you're in the metric system or if you're in the standard system in America, you'll get the same result. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to actually build this bad boy. So first, I already have created a empty folder here, and I'm going to open up my terminal, and I'm going to run the command npx create react app, and I'm going to put the name of my app. So I'm going to name it BMI, and then it'll run all these scripts for me to create a React app. So let's give that a few minutes. Now our app has installed all our React components right here now. And just so you guys are aware, make sure you have npm node package manager installed in your computer, or else you won't be able to run this command. So you do a quick Google download or install npm, and then you'll see the steps on how to do that. But now we have our React app, and we have all these JavaScript files, CSS files, JSON, all these dependencies. So I'm going to go ahead and cd into the React app, the BMI directory. That way I'm in the same directory as my package JSON. And then I'm going to run this script here, the start script, by running the node package manager npm start. And then it'll give me a default React page. I'll say yes, I have something running on my port 3000, so I'll go ahead and put it in another port, 3001. This is my original app running. And this should be just the standard React page that you get whenever you first install React, create a React app. So let's go ahead and delete the app.css content as well as the App.js, everything between this div here. Let's go ahead and delete that. Also go ahead and get rid of this class name. That way all I have is the div. And then since this import's not being used anymore, this logo here, I'll go ahead and delete that. And if I save everything, I should have a white page. It's a regular plain white page. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and create the parent component, the very first parent component. This is like the root component of our entire application. I'm just gonna give it a title, BMI calculator. Just hard coded there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the form here. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder that's going to house all my components. And in there, I'm going to put my BMI form. So I'm going to call it BMI Form.js. And I'm going ahead and I'm doing functional components, by the way. So I'm going to do const BMI form and create function. And then I'm going to export it so I can put it in other files and import it in other files. So export default BMI form. And now I can go back into my app.js and import it in here and make it as a child of this app.js. So let me go ahead and import it from my components directory, and then this is my BMI form. So if I click on it, I'll go in there, and then I'm gonna give it a its own tag, JSX tag, BMI form, and now my parent component can inherit the BMI form, which is the child. All right, let me go ahead and create the form now. So I'm going to go ahead and create my return first and return all my HTML elements. So make sure everything is enclosed in a div. I'm gonna create my form. And then my first label, which will be the weight. And then input field, type. It's going to be regular text input field. This is going to be for my weight. And I'll put another label for my units of measurement, so just unit. And then this is where I'm going to have my drop down. So it's going to be my select tag for the drop down. And option 1. Option 1 is going to be the default. So it's going to be my placeholder basically. So select the unit. And I'm going to give it a property of selected. That way, when my page renders, this is the drop down that gets selected by default, but I'm going to make it disabled, so I can't choose it. Then my second option is going to be my pounds. So pounds. And then I'll make another option for kilograms. All right, now I'm going to give each option a value, which will be important later, but I want to map a value to each one. So this one's going to be my pounds, so I'll put the pounds. And And then this one's going to be the kilogram. So I'm going to give it a value of the kilogram abbreviation. All right, so that's it for my units of measurement for weight. Now let's do the height. Let's give it a label. Obviously it's going to be height. And then my input field. I'm going to do one tag that closes itself. Type is going to be text, just like the weight. Put colons here. All right, and then I'm going to put my units. Let me just copy the label here. I'm just going to copy this since I'm going to call it the same thing. And I'm going to also just go ahead and copy this select. But instead I'm going to do select a unit, same thing. But this one's going to be inches. Sorry guys, I'm the worst speller sometimes when I type. And then meters. So the value, I'm going to do the same thing with what I did with the pounds and kilograms. I'm going to do the abbreviation. So for value N for inches, value M for meters. And then I'm going to do my button, which will do the calculation. So calculate BMI. Then I'm going to make it a type submit, so that way I don't have to use the mouse. I can just press enter and then it'll give me the result. All right, so I have my basic form. So let me save this. And then you should see just a form that doesn't really do anything. Yep, title, and then we have our form. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the results component. So the result, this is good. The result is going to be a children of my BMI form. So let's do result.js. And so I'm going, this component is just going to take care of the results. So I'm going to do the same thing, functional component. Export it so I can import it. And like I said, I'm going to make it a child of BMI form. So I'm going to import it. Result, sorry. I'll import my result. And then I'm going to put it below my form. So right here, so give it its own tag, and yeah. See, if I click the tag too, it will take me into that component. All right, and then let me return a paragraph with the resulted calculation. Remember to enclose everything in a div. React requires you to enclose all the JSX elements in divs, and then put a p tag. And then for now, I'm going to just put a variable called category. This is going to hold whether someone is overweight or their weight is just right, obese, but I'll add logic to that later. And then I'll put that as a value in here. And also I'm going to put a parameter here. This allows me to pass in properties from child to parent. So I'll be able to pass this property into BMI form. You'll see that in a few minutes. And whatever gets passed through here will also be a value that you'll see in the UI. Okay, and now since this BMI result is a prop that I can pass, I can put it as its own property, kind of like what you see like with the value, with an HTML option tag. Now this custom JSX component that I made through React has a property, has this property. So I can do BMI result. And then I can, whatever logic I put here, I can make it whatever I want pretty much. All right, so now let's go ahead and create some functions to get this form working. So I'm going to teach you guys a React hook. That's I'm only going to use one React hook throughout this entire tutorial. It's going to be called useState. So the first variable I'm going to do is result, set result. This is going to be the calculated result. And the useState syntax takes in an array of two objects. First one is the variable that's going to hold my state, and the second parameter in the array, second entry in the array, is the function that allows you to change the state. So this is a function, and then this is the variable that will hold the current state. And whenever you do, that's not right. That's not the right dependency. Let me look. Yeah. So make sure you import useState from React. And then useState, see it has the stateful value, which is the first element in the array. And then the function to update it is the second element in the array. And it's usually whatever, you can name this whatever you want, and then you put set in front of it. So that way it's easier to read. That's usually the standard practice. And I'm not going to put anything there. That's going to be the initial state. So the initial value of result is there's nothing there. Whenever my component renders, it will get updated as we add stuff. But for now, the BMI result I'm passing is going to be the result, which right now it's nothing. All right, now let's go ahead and create a logic to do what happens when we submit the calculator form. So I'm gonna create a function called submit handler. And then so this function will be called when I submit the form. So when I submit the form, I'm clicking the button. So I'm going to do on submit. Actually, I'm going to do it on the form, not the button. I'm going to do the entire form on submit. All the values here, and it will just be submit handler for now. So let's save that. Let's see what our behavior is so far in the UI. So you see every time I click the button, the page is kind of refreshing here. We don't want that behavior. That's the default behavior of form. Whenever you submit a form, it refreshes the screen. So let's prevent that. So you see here, I pass in a parameter called E, short for event. And the event is the submission. So on submission, E, I'm going to prevent the default, which is refreshing the screen. So if I save this, now if I click the button, nothing will happen. See, there's no refresh happening. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some form validation. I don't want anything to happen if I don't have all the values inputted. So for now, I'm going to keep this if statement blank. And this is going to check for form validation. So I'm going to create another useState. to hold my form validation state. So I'm going to do form is valid. Form is valid, then I'm going to set form is valid. And I'm going to initialize it to true. So when my page renders, it's true, my form is valid at first. But now I'm going to, so you see here I have 4 different input values. I want values in all of these. I don't want any calculations to happen unless there's an input value in all of these. So in order to make that happen, we have to set the state for each component. For the weight unit, for the height, and for the height unit. So let's go ahead and manage the state for each of these components. So for weight first, I'm going to initialize this as a empty string. I'm going to do the same thing for all 4 fields. So for the weight unit, for the height, and for the height unit. So I'm going to copy these both and then do this one's going to be for my height. This one's going to be for my height. And then it's going to be my height unit. Set height unit. So all of these are initially, they're going to be empty strings. And the reason why is because whenever I first go into my calculator, there's no values in each field. That's why I initialize them as empty strings. No values yet. So now I'm going to do a form validation here. So if there's no weight value entered, or if there's no weight unit entered, or height unit, if I don't have any values for any of these, I want to set my form is valid to false. It's not going to be valid anymore. So I'm going to take in this set form is valid, this function that will change the state. I'm going to change it from true to false. I'm going to return. I'm not going to do anything else in this function. Okay? Now we'll see this in action right now. So there's a special syntax in React. I'm going to put a message that will tell my user, hey, this form is not valid. So how you do this is you want to do 2 curly braces and then the variable, which is form is valid. When it's not valid, so I'm going to put this negation here. So if this is what the syntax means, 2 ampersands and then whatever value I put here. If this evaluates to true, render this. So if my form is not valid, so if I don't have any values for any of these fields, make sure I put negation there, then it will show me this message. Only this paragraph will only show if my form is not valid. So let's test that real quick. See? Let me just do it online. Let me just forget one of them. Still there. Same thing happens in the original app, by the way. Let me just show you guys. So right here it's styled, but same thing. There's no values. It'll alert the user. So we got that working. Let's continue on the submission logic. I also want to check if my weight and my height values are numbers. So I'm going to use the is not a number function that's already built into JavaScript, and it will check if whatever is inside this parameter is not a number. If it's not a number, then it returns true. So I want to check if my weight is not a number, or if my height is not a number. If it's not, I also want to set my form validation to false. And then I don't want to do anything else in this function if my form is not valid, so I'm going to return so it exits out. So let me save everything and I'll show you guys. Just put in some letters. And see, since I put letters and weight, it's giving me this message. Please enter valid data in all fields. All right, so our form validation works. All right, if all that's good, I'm just gonna go ahead and set my form is valid to true in case it was false before. So this is like an extra check. Set it to true. Then I want to calculate my BMI. And then I'll have to create a function for this. So let's go ahead and create the calculate BMI function. All right, so let's input weight, let input height. So I'll create variables to hold my functions, or hold some values here in a few minutes. But before that, let's go ahead and change the state. Let's use these set weight unit, set height unit functions here. So whenever I input something, whenever I type in something, it's going to be on change event. On change, I want to take in that event, and then I want to set, this is my weight field, so I'm going to set the weight to e.target.value. Let me show you guys a demo on this so you guys can see what I'm doing. So you'll have to do this separately, but if you inspect, you go online and you just Google download React developer tools or dev tools. There's one for Google Chrome. Just download it and it'll be like an extension. Once you have that downloaded, it will be on your developer tools. You press F12 or right click inspect and go to components. This is how you can debug in React. And then you see the name of my form, BMI Form, and it has all my states. So this is probably my form validation here, which is true. Now, you saw in weight that I typed in the set weight event.target.value. So the event, whatever change is happening into my input field, I'm setting it as the weight. Let me show you what I mean. So if I start typing, you'll see the state update in almost real time. So let me just do hi. See how this changes? Types in random letters. You see my state is changing. So that's working as expected. My change is getting red. You see it's back to an empty string. See how everything is also an empty string here because there's no values typed in. So that's how you do this, change the values here. And let's go ahead and do it for the rest of the fields so you guys can see how everything works. All right, so let's do the same thing for select. Select will also be on change as well. And we'll do the same exact pattern. take in the event, and we'll set the weight unit to event.target.value. So the target and the value is what is in the field. That's the property of, so make sure you do target and then the value. And then same thing with this other input here on change. And then take in the event, and then this will be for our height. So set height. Yeah, so see, value returns the data of the value of the data at the cursor's position, which is this is the position it's talking about. And then last but not least, we'll do it for the other weight unit. Height unit. All right, let's save that. And now let's see, all these should start changing now, all these empty string states. So 100 right there. This should be pounds. One of these should turn into pounds. I'll check that in a second. The height should change. And then the units should change. Okay, so the inches is there. Let me check on the pounds here. On the weight unit. The weight unit's not changing state, so let's see. It's outside of the select. That's why. Put it inside. It should work. All right, now we'll see. Now it'll change. See? Everything is changing now. All right. So we see that the state is now updating in our React developer tools. So now we can start the calculations. So I want to convert everything, no matter what I type, I want to convert everything in meters and kilograms. So I want to check my weight unit first. If my weight unit is pounds, which if I select this, you'll see the state has changed. If I select pounds, so this variable got updated if you guys are not following me. Whenever I change the select, if I chose pounds, then I'll do input weight, which is a variable I created here. Whatever is inputted, I want to parse float so I get a decimal number. The weight, which is this, the weight is 100. Okay. Turn it into a floating point number. And I'm going to divide it by 2.21, and that will convert pounds to kilograms. And I also want to check if someone is using if someone using the standard system in America, the right one. Just kidding. I actually feel like we all should use the metric system, but whatever. If my height unit is inches, I want my input height. This should actually be weight. This is the height. Input height. I want to parse float the height value and then divide. This is how we do inches to meters. You take the height and divide it by 39.37. Okay. I actually initially want to set the inputs to whatever state I put. So height and height. Only if I select pounds or inches, then it will change the value. The weight will become kilograms and the weight will become meters. But if not, it will be whatever I typed in because the state is changing here with the useState hook. If that's not clear, let me know in the comments, guys. I'll go ahead. I might just do like a really good breakdown on useState. Okay? And I'm going to do rounded results. I want to round everything to 2 decimal places so I don't have like a big long decimal. I'm going to do math.round input height or weight. So this is the BMI formula. Input weight in kilograms divided by my height in meters squared. So just input height times input height. All right, and I want to multiply that by 100. Or sorry, not by 100, by 10. I only want 1 decimal place. And then I'm going to divide it by 10 so I get that 1 decimal place. And then I'm going to set the result to the rounded result. And remember, the result, set result is the result. So this guy right here. And remember, I set the BMI result prop in result to whatever result I get in this BMI form component. So this result is the calculated result. So this data will get passed in to result, and then it will go in here. That's what's happening here, and I'll show you guys that in a few minutes. And let me do another thing just to account for some more errors. So if my rounded result is 0, or if my rounded result somehow is not a number anymore, which could happen, I'm just going to just make my rounded result to 1. Okay, and the reason why we're doing that, guys, is because I only want to display this once I have a result. So I'm going to do the exact same thing here. So I'm going to do this curly brace syntax. And then if my result, if I have a result and where's my ampersand? And my form is valid, then I'll display this. So these both have to evaluate to true, and then this will evaluate in the UI. This will render in the UI. So let me save all that, and we should have everything working here. So you see 1 here. It's a little caught off on my screen, but we got a value of 1. Let me convert it to kilograms. This might be better that way. Let's just do like 2 meters. 25. Once I style everything, you guys will be able to see. Okay, so everything seems to be calculating correctly. Let's handle the category in result. So I have this category variable already here. Let's go ahead and utilize it. So remember, my BMI result is whatever value got calculated in here, which is my result. So let me just backtrack. So once I click the button, there is a prevent default to prevent from refreshing the screen. I'm checking to see if I have values inputted in all 4 fields. And I'm also checking if the weight and height values are numbers, not letters or anything else. If all that's good, my form is valid, and then I'll calculate the BMI. All right, when I calculate the BMI, the input weight, input height is whatever state the height and weight is, which is constantly being changed here through this onChange event. If I select pounds or inches, then I'm going to convert my weight and height to kilograms and meters respectively. And then I'm going to round it to one decimal place. If I somehow get 0, or if it's somehow not a number, I'm just going to set it to 1. And then I'm setting my result to the rounded result, which is the calculated result. And since I set the result, my state got updated from not being anything at all to the calculated result. And I put the result here, which is a property of the child result. So this value is getting passed in to result via this property. So what was, do I have a calculation here? Okay, never mind. Whatever calculated result I get from pressing this button will in turn get passed through here and goes into the result component itself. Now I can use this to check the value and give me a category. So this is the standard BMI result chart. You guys can look it up. If you have a result of 18.5 or less than 18.5, your category is underweight. I'm going to put everything in single double, so when in the UI you'll see double quotes, underweight. So whatever data I'm getting passed through, I'm doing all these checks. This is just a standard protocol, like I said. If it's greater than or equal to 18.5, and if that BMI result is less than or equal to 24.9, and the category is, I believe, healthy weight. Yeah, healthy weight. And then this one is going to be the overweight. This one is going to be overweight. And then anything greater than or equal to 30 is obese. Okay. All right, now I have my category set, so everything should be working now. Let me just refresh this and make sure I save everything. All right, so 200-pound man, that's 72 inches. 27.1 overweight. I think we did the same thing on this original one. Let me just cross-check so you guys can see. 27.1 overweight, 27.1 overweight. Let me show you guys in case y'all can't really see it on my screen. It might be cut off. Yeah, 27.1 overweight. So everything seems to be working fine. So let's go ahead and make everything look more aesthetic, more nice, more pleasing to the eye. First things first, I'm going to use a Bootstrap, but let's go ahead and let's do Bootstrap first actually. So in order to add Bootstrap in a React app, you want to go to your public directory into the index HTML. So if you guys watch my JavaScript series, or you know how vanilla JavaScript works in the browser, you'll know about index HTML, and you'll know that you're supposed to put a link to your style sheet in the head portion. I already have this saved in my system, but in order to add Bootstrap, all you have to do is, here, I'll actually show you guys. So Bootstrap. So I'll tell you here, you can just copy this link tag, copy it to your clipboard, and then you'll just put it in your head. Put it here, and now you'll have Bootstrap in your app. It'll be available throughout your entire app. You don't have to import anything. So let's go ahead and style the form first. So let's come down to our JSX elements. So all my labels, I'm going to give it this form label class. So in Bootstrap, all you have to do is put a class name, and if you look at the documentation, it'll tell you what to put in each one. Make sure in React you put class name and not class. In the Bootstrap documents, it's going to tell you to put class. If I go to like utilities here, or not utilities, go to typography. Yeah, it'll tell you to put class. So this is display one, but in React you have to put class name, or you'll get errors in the console. So I'm going to do my class, my label, form label, my input. I'm going to give it this class name, form control. And you can put multiple elements. You gotta space it and put these things here. And all my labels, I'm going to give them all the same styling here. And let me make this look better for you guys. It's easier to read. In my select, I'm going to put a class. Form select. And then I'm gonna do that in my other one, my other select tag. Let me just document, let me just format everything better again so it's easier to read. I think that's all my labels. Let me just save that. My button, make it yellow by giving it this class name here. Button warning, and make it small with a BTN SM. The warning makes it yellow, and then this is the size. Let's see what we have so far. So we have everything looks a little better, but let's fix it here. Sorry guys, this is not as interesting as the like coding part. All Bootstrap is just putting class name and then putting whatever it says in documentation. And class name. I'm gonna give it that red text with alert, danger. I'm gonna actually just make this form control. I think I forgot on one of the inputs to do form control. Yeah. Make sure everything has everything here. All right. Just format. All right, I think that's everything. We'll check the UI in a bit, and then the result should be a little easier. All we're doing is I'm gonna make this green, as you guys saw in the original one, with alert success instead of danger. Let's see what we have so far. So yeah, my red, it's red now. And this result should be green. Yep, we're getting there. Where's my original one at? Did I exit out of it? Just make sure I have it for comparison. All right, let's go ahead and do CSS. So app CSS, in order to make it global, available to every component, just import it in the App.js, and then it will be available everywhere. So let me split this left, and let me do the form first. Actually, let me do the body first. Do flex so I can use align items and justify content. And then I'm going to do a background color. Everything should be better aligned now, at least. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's space everything out now and give it a little bit more flair. Give everything a little bit more flair. All right, let's do all the input fields of type text, which is every single one that I created. Let's give it a max width of 200 pixels. And then to give it that blue color that you guys saw initially. So now it should have that blue color. There we go, that blue color. Yeah. All right, let's make this a little faster. All right, form select. So you can also use the Bootstrap classes to style CSS classes. So everything that has, all my select tags has that class form select. So I'm gonna give it the same background color, same max width. So everything has the same size. And my alerts. So this includes this alert and this alert. They'll have a max width as well. I'll make it 300, make it a little bigger than the form fields. And I'm gonna do margin top so it's not like attached to the form. I can bring it down a little bit with margin top. The margin top references the top margin, so it's gonna bring it down. So 25 pixels from the top. And I'm gonna bring the button down so it's not all bunched up as well. Save that. I think that's everything. Yep, looks identical to our app. Let's do a quick demo. Make sure everything works. Type in letters so it doesn't go away. All right, let's do the same thing we've been doing with 200-pound guy. That's 72 inches. All right, everything looks good. All right, so that's how we build a BMI calculator with React, and we're only using one hook, the useState hook. Stay tuned for another React project, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.